it, you're moving. I'm better off alone. I'll disregard you in the summer. I'm not calling out for you. Yeah, they never want a trip like you to wear me out. But if you're standing with me, but don't hold on to the fire till it burns you to the ground.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and I am in Lucky behind the wheel, taking her for a rip. I thought it'd be good for the old girl to get out and about. She hasn't been on the road in a very long time, and I need to make a trip to, you guessed it, Silverton Building Supplies, because yesterday I didn't do any filming. I sort of was taking the day off from filming because there's only so much you can film when you're doing a build without getting extremely bored, right? Like I do my best to keep it entertaining and engaging, both for you lovely people and for myself. But if I'm being honest, there's only so many, you know, circular saw cuts on a piece of plywood I can take. So I was banging out a few things yesterday. We'll go over them a little bit later once I get back to the homestead there. It was nice to take the day off, get that stuff done just for me. But because of all of that stuff yesterday, something was like developed in my brain, like most of this build. And well, I don't have the appropriate length of screws. So, ripping up there. I might actually also get the plywood for my bed platform. I've been going back and forth. Like, my previous bed platform in the old build was 3/4 inch plywood, and it worked great, no problems. That's very expensive. And this time my bed platform is going to be larger. I'm thinking 1/2 inch plywood is going to be just fine. It's a little bit cheaper. I mean, it's still like $80 a sheet out here, but I think that should be fine and save me a little bit of money for what I need, and I'll have a bunch of plywood left over. The reason I'm thinking about getting that now, I'm not really ready to sort of lock it down yet, but who knows? It's just because I have the van, and there's more room in the back of Lucky than there is in Grace's boot. We'll see. I'm definitely getting screws to finish off the one thing. And then I would also, I need to give a huge shout out to Bill down in Old Denver. Sir, you are a very kind soul. Thank you very much. He's always looking out for me, trying to figure out what might make things easier for me or improve the quality of life in my tiny home on wheels. And that is so very thoughtful. He reached out to me the other day after I mentioned the induction cooktop. And he was concerned that I wouldn't have enough power. So he wrote me and said, I've purchased you an additional 100 amp hour battery that you can put into your system. That will effectively boost Lucky's capacity up to 300 amp hours, which is amazing. So thank you, Bill. So I was trying to do my wiring and everything yesterday. Another thing I don't really want to film doing because, but now I have to plan around that. So it slowed that process down, but it's funny to say that because it's such a kind thing that Bill has done. So I don't mind putting a pin in that. We will wait, and that should be back at the UPS store. Well, maybe later this week or later in a couple weeks. I got 2 trips back to Calgary coming up here right away. I'll be going back over a weekend to see Brooklyn. I'm gonna have her because her mom's busy. And then after that, it'll be the following weekend and she'll be out here with me so she can see her grandparents since she hasn't seen them since they got back from their trip. And all of that is to say, I'm coming around the mountain into Silverton. Always such a nice view of the lake. Welcome to Silverton. I'm just pulling into the hardware store here. I'm pulling up to the hardware store. It's right there on the left where it always is. Yeah, we'll pull in right here. I'm not going to pull around to the back yet because I got to do some quick calculations. I'm now having a thought about my bed platform. And I may need 2 sheets of plywood, which is going to make this far more expensive right now. So I might wait. I know that there's going to be a hinge involved, at least one, and the whole bed platform is going to be 68 inches wide. I know I talked about it being 70 a ways back, but I forgot to take into account the little, there's weird little swoopy notches right at the wheel well boxes. They actually stick up above the wheel well boxes in the back there. And so I had to measure from that point to that point because the platform sits right there. So that is technically my shortest point. So I need the boards to be able to fit there. And that point to that point is 68. And then the whole damn other thing is going to be 72. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to need 2 boards of plywood. Yeah, you got to check because the pieces of plywood come in 4 feet by 8 feet, which is 48 inches by 96 inches. And I need 68 by 72. But if I'm going to put a little, and it doesn't matter where, like if I put the hinge, because that is 72, right? 20, if I do like a 24-inch strip, let's say a 24-inch panel that folds up, well, that leaves me, you know what? It's very complicated math that I just had figured out in my head. It doesn't matter for the sake of this video. I'm just pretty sure I'm going to need 2 pieces. So that's probably not a today thing. Maybe some newer 2x2s or almost 2x2s. All right, rudimentary drawings because this is how my brain works. But here we go. This is essentially the bed platform. So we got 48 by 96. That's this, like, ignore this part up here for now. It's nothing. Forget it for now. But this little rectangle here is 48 by 96, right? So we cut it to 68. That leaves us with whatever the hell this is, 30, not even, 20 something that we don't need. Blah, scrap. Because then, so then this is the one piece of bed platform, 68 by 48. I then need 24 by 68, so it's the same width, and then 24 plus 48 equals 72. But you ain't gonna get that out of this. So I'm gonna have this scrap and then whatever else was cut off of that, you know what I mean? Oh! It's so expensive. Thank goodness I don't pay rent. Getting to know this aisle real well. Okay. All right, we got our screws. We got some more. Whoa! Please don't go everywhere. Oh, I got so lucky. Let's put our construction adhesive in here first. We also got little L brackets. We're gonna put those there. Oh God, that could have been a Monday disaster. Let's put all that in there. Yes, I decided to go with the 8 times stronger tube of construction adhesive. Again, we'll talk about why when we get there. And I just said, screw it, YOLO, as the kids say, and we've got to go pick up our pieces of plywood. I just didn't want to bring Lucky back out later, and I'm so close to installing this bed platform. Let's just get her done. So it was a lot of number crunching and whatnot while I was in there. And actually had Brandon come out here and look at Lucky and give me his advice or his opinion on the wheel wells and what I was doing by insulation. Again, we'll get to that, and we're gonna have to talk about not necessarily a mistake or a whoopsie, but a poor decision on my part. Sneaking around back here. Maybe I'll pull up around these lovely people. Bring Lucky up over here. Beautiful. Where'd that receipt go? Throwing stuff everywhere. How's it going, man? Oh, not too bad. You need the stuff. Just stuff. Perfect. Oh, I don't know how easy it's to get at. There's a thing of rock wool on there as well. Oh, good. Tastes a lot more than I thought it would be. Yikes. All right, got one piece of plywood in, but this rock wool won't be able to ride here now. Oh God. Nice and light. Get in there. Perfect. That's not gonna close. Shove it into the house. Yikes. All right. Holy Dinah. Well, the house is full of a bunch of stuff, and if I'm being honest, I don't even know how I'm going to get that 68-inch piece of plywood into Lucky. Yeah, it's 68 inches at those 2 points, but the door frame and the wall and the hanging cupboard, we'll figure it out. Sounds like a future Matthew problem. For now, let's get back to the homestead and get Lucky ready for some more building. But first, I almost forgot. We got to pick up some coffee creamer for Mom. So let's pull on into the new market here in New Denver. And I could probably get myself some yellow corn tortilla chips for snackies tonight. How you doing today?
Good, you?
Not too bad.
Right on.
Uh-oh. Here's the proof, Mom. They were out. Whatever doesn't kill her makes her stronger. Ooh. It was meant to be. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. Make sure your toolie's closed. Yeah, we'll let Lucky stick out a little bit more today so we have a little bit more room to work at the back here. I did end up getting a couple more 2x2s as well, and they're 8 feet, and I didn't have them make any cuts for me. So I'll haul all this out. This over here for now. You can hang out with my dad's lugs. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's give a little bit of an update on what I did yesterday. Bed platform out. This is the piece I'm worried about turning to make fit in here. It's just a little awkward. Come on, easy on your back. Okay. Oh, okay. Boom. Stretch it up, light. All right, so the first thing we'll go over, don't forget to put my glasses up in Penny's cat loft. I'm gonna totally forget that they're there. It's just the way it is. So, obviously, we got this drawer installed last time. I spent a little bit of time reinforcing everything, so it's a little bit more structurally sound. Pulls out now pretty much no problem. You'll be able to see here, maybe I'll zoom in. If I put pressure on this end when the drawer is all the way out, if you look right up there, if I do this, you can kind of see the whole, it's hard to do. There, see? The whole bed frame kind of comes up. So that's a little concerning, but not so much that I feel bad about it. I'm not imagining having this drawer out the entire way and then putting a bunch of weight here. Like you can see, it holds itself up. And also, it's easy to get like lost in thought when you're doing this. You're like, you see that problem, and you're like, okay, I got to fix that immediately. But what I'm forgetting is that eventually there's going to be the big piece of plywood here, and it's going to be attached to this box, to this support beam, and to that box, right? It'll all sort of help hold that down. I'm trying not to overthink too many things and, you know, end up putting little tiny brackets in where they don't need to be. That being said, I did a few up there. You can see the one little silver guy right there, reinforced that. And then we got this drawer, which is amazing. And I was left with this space here. And this is where I'm at and why I needed to go get screws. Because my first intention was to put another drawer here the exact same way I did this one, with 2x4s on both sides of the box. So we've got one here that's already permanently attached to our like main support beam. And I was going to put another one on this side attached to the box, just like we did on that side. But the problem is, where is that 2x4? Where is it? This is why we can't have nice things. Here, there's this guy. You bring this 2x4 in, you put him there, and now look, it's hard to kind of tell on a camera. It looks wider than it actually is. Maybe if I change my camera and my lens. So there's the normal lens. So that's it, right? That's kind of that's a pretty narrow drawer. And it would be even more narrow once you get the drawer slides in. They'll come in a bit. What's wrong with my finger? It's a moisturizer, my goodness. Right, drawer slides, and then the walls of the drawer, you're looking at a drawer like this wide. I mean, more like this, but still. So what I'm gonna do instead, since I have the other set of drawer slides, I didn't wanna like have to go through the struggle of returning them or selling them secondhand, because my thought was I won't put a drawer in, and I'll just have this big long space that will, yes, be a pain in the ass to get to from behind the bed here, but I'll just deal with it. Well, I don't wanna deal with it. So we're building a drawer. And instead of having the slides on either side, we're gonna get rid of this. Bye-bye. And we're just gonna use this, and the slides are gonna mount like this, and then to the underside of the drawer. So we'll get maximum width and still be able to use them. And this is actually a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, which was part of my old bed platform. So we still got lots of that wood left. There's the chunk there, and there's another chunk kicking around here somewhere. I'll have to find it. That's exactly the same size as this one. My first thought was 3/4 inch plywood. This will be our new floor, and we'll secure it to the frame and the van and every other way. And then we'll use 1/2 inch plywood for the drawer, just like we did on this guy. But 1/2 inch plywood drilling into it this way might be a little bit more difficult. So I might use the other piece of 3/4 inch plywood, and this drawer is going to be real hefty, a little heavy, but that's okay. So that's a plan there. And the screws I needed to get was because, yes, I can brace this here maybe, but then what about back there? That's where it's really going to count. So my floor is this laminate board that I put down, plus there's a 1/4 inch piece of like, it's not plywood, but it was MDF board, like base floor that I did underneath it. So, and this stuff is almost a 1/4 inch thick itself. So I've got about 1/2 inch below this. So I'm just gonna drill into my floor. Sounds scary, I know. It is a little bit more of a damaging permanent feature to Lucky, but I don't plan on making a Lucky 3.0 out of this. Oh, that's gonna be clipped to here and back when I do that. Doo-doo. But anyways, permanent stuff like that I'm okay with. And now, before we get to the big screw up, let's talk about one more little thing I did, and that's up here. So come into Lucky's side door here. Ooh, messy, messy, messy. And you'll see that in the, what will be my electrical box, there was a piece of MDF board there before from the old build that I had as my platform, but I decided to take it out, reduce as much weight as possible. It's actually sitting up on the firewood pile over there. And I put 2 pieces of plywood down instead. So now I've got a floor in this electrical box. I'm gonna get this inverter up like that. And my initial, and that's great. And then this spot here is where I have reserved for that battery that Bill is sending. Thank you again, sir. So it will go there, and then it'll get seriesed or paralleled, whatever. I know which one it is, but I obviously don't know it this second. Don't worry. It'll be amp hour instead of voltage, and then the power will come off of the little battery down here to our bus bars and all that good stuff. And then I finally made the decision, okay, I'm going to hide my solar charge controller, and I thought he could live right here like this. Then I discovered that you're really not supposed to mount stuff like that. It's supposed to be mounted in a vertical position, not a horizontal one, because of all these fins on the back and the way that it pulls air in and every other darn thing. So unfortunately it's a little too big to mount inside the box here, right? You can't do that. Otherwise the bed platform, well, here in this way, the bed platform could close, but how in the hell would I get the wires into the holes on the bottom, right? And you can't do it like, anyway, I think what I'm going to do is hopefully pick up a MPPT charge controller that's also a DC to DC charger in one. So that would eliminate that and this, and it's a lot smaller, and maybe I'll be able to put it up on a plank here so that it's in the proper orientation. I just don't want all of this stuff oot in a boot, as they say. I want everything snug as a bug in a rug in a box. So yes, new plywood floor there. Little less weight. Now, to the lesson that I learned. And that lesson was this stuff, as great as it is, you can clearly see that I used it yesterday. Got a little excited and let some splooge out overnight. As great as it is, it's 20 bucks a can. And when my intention was to fill these wheel well boxes with it, my goodness, you can see that would be quite expensive. Now it's great. This stuff dried overnight. It's nice and hard, no problem. But if I want these full, I'm looking at maybe what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more bottles of this stuff. That's $140-ish, right? 20? Yep. No thanks. So I talked to Brandon over there at Silverton Building Supplies, and he recommended the rock wool. So there we go. He says this stuff is water resistant, way more so compared to than when it's compared to fiberglass batting. So we're just going to take this out and we're going to stuff it into the wheel well boxes. I'm not going to bother removing this, like whatever. I did 1 can, it's in there. This is done. I got another can of that. I had another one in my hand when I was in Silverton, and I just thought this is going to be ridiculously priced. So that stuff, it's good for gaps and cracks, not filling massive voids. Learn from my experience. So whatever, I learned the lesson. It is there. It's 40 bucks. I will hopefully find a use for the other can I have. Maybe not necessarily on the build, but maybe my dad has use for it or something. Anyway, that's where that's at. Now I think I'm going to, hopefully, bang out a drawer. For that, the weather has gotten a lot nicer, so we're gonna take off the Sherpa-lined Johnny and just find a flannel to keep us warm out there in the light breeze that is today. While we're down here, we may as well say hello to the putty tat. Hello, darling, how are you? Come here. Come here. Go get your tail. Go get your tail. Hi. How are you? Yeah. I got Lucky out on the road today. She went for a drive. You're going to be so confused when we get back into her. It's going to be all different. Don't worry, I promise you'll have a place to poop and eat. And your cat loft ain't going anywhere. You're a good girl. Good girl. I know. I need to do laundry tonight, so we'll just grab the uranium and call it a day. I've also gotten into the habit of just putting my Revita tea in my smoothies in the morning, which is great, but I think it's time for a second one. All right. Okay, so I had to let my phone charge a little bit. So while it was doing that, I was making progress on this, and this is what I've done. So we've now got this board, and we've got a whole bunch of screws every foot or so, maybe a little bit less, and this board's not going anywhere. Also, just to reinforce it at the back here, let's see what we can see. Come down here, and you see that there's this 2x2 here with these 2 silver screws on top. I just added that to the framework of the electrical box, construction adhesive, and 2 big long-ass screws, and then I put this bracket on that I had from, I don't know, some part of Lucky that I tore apart. And now it's screwed in and it's holding this to this as well. So there's kind of like double reinforcement. I was having the thought on the underside of this board, I could have just slathered it with construction adhesive, but that makes it real permanent. And if you're going to remove it later down the line, that would tear up all of the laminate flooring as well. I mean, if I'm being honest, if this board comes out, the laminate flooring is going to have to come out too. Because you're going to be a whole bunch of little holes where these screws have gone into it, right? But for now, I mean, it doesn't really feel like it's going anywhere. And just to clarify for anybody who might be confused as to why I was putting in this as additional floor, since these screws are already going into this floor, why don't I just mount the drawer slides to this floor? And it might not have been clear, but that would only have been 1/2 inch of thickness for the screws from the slide to go into, and it's not very strong board. So now we've got 3/4 inch plywood and we can build our drawer on top of that. Just got to decide if I'm using the other piece of this 3/4 inch as the bottom of the drawer. Probably. Let's see what happens. Well, that happened a lot sooner than I thought it would. I finally reached the point where I would benefit from at least a 3rd clamp out here to hold the long ends together. And I'm just trying to be as efficient as possible, which means I will end up being completely inefficient. Let's get serious. But I've got the bottom of the drawer, that's 3/4 inch ply. I got the sides of the drawers, of the drawer one, that are 1/2 inch ply, and we're going to attach them a little bit differently than we did those, but essentially it's going to end up being the same when you just glance at it. But I need 8-inch sections of this. Why did I get Silverton Building Supplies to do it for me last time and not this time? They decided to start charging per cut. That's not a lot of money, but I got the plywood cut. I figured I could probably do the 2x2 myself. So let's find out. Measure out 8-inch sections and get to it. Wait a second, is this thicker than my blade? This might be moot. It is thicker than my blade. Damn it, can't do it stacked on top of each other. We must do it this way. Now, hopefully my clampies can hold. Well, line it up perfectly, end to end, and then hold it right on the crack. Everybody just calm down. Also, what could possibly go wrong? So many things. This is going to be jank AF, that's okay. But they're close enough to 8. Hey, we don't mind. That's a little short. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so now it's going to be pretty jank. What? Our drawer bottom down. Put them all up there. We need them all. Just kind of like this. Build yourself a drawer. No big deal. Roughly like that. We're going to construction adhesive the tips and just the tips like this. The construction adhesive with one screw from the bottom. And then we will take our sides and butt it up like this and screw them into those. And we got ourselves a real wank looking drawer. Wank drawer. Anyway, that's the name of the episode. So what I did before this is I actually pulled one of the drawer slides out and extended it. They're real long when they're extended, so I didn't bother filming it. But I laid down the part that will attach to the bottom of this. I flipped this over now. And I marked off where the holes on the drawer slide are, right? Why did I do this? All those little dotties. So I don't put one of these over top of where one of those holes are. Like obviously the drawer has a lot of overkill down on this side, and I probably could get away with putting one of these here, because as long as I like sink the screws into this real good, the drawer slide will still sit flush. But yeah, that was just my way of making sure I don't have a dope moment in about half an hour. Oh, that's a lofty goal. Half hour? That reminds me, there's been a few internet idiots in the comments, as they do, or as they are. It could go either way. But they just, you know, there's been some comments like, oh, you're slacking, you're delaying, just get the build done, you're being lazy. Yeah, okay, bud. Just let this be a lesson to anybody else out there who might be doing something like this, because these fools clearly forget that I had back surgery in October. I'm doing this all by myself. It's a complete overhaul. And, oh yeah, they're pricks. They keep forgetting those three things. But if you're doing something like this, don't worry about what anybody else is saying. Just go at your own pace. Do what you want to do. There's no rush. Just get her done. I could say go slow so you don't screw up, but this is going to be, like I said, wank AF. But it'll work for me, and I'll go at my pace that makes me comfortable and doesn't put me in a grave. Heavier with those slides on there. And I was very quickly reminded why I don't like that stronger construction adhesive. It's a lot more difficult to get out of the tube. Okay. Now, flip it. There we go. Hopefully this works. Get in there, you. Okay. Fast grab. Pushed a bunch of that shit to the front. Well, there we go. The slide's working. The slides are working. Time to attach some screws to that side. Hey. All right. Hey. So hopefully that construction adhesive will help. I was just going to put it in and let the construction adhesive cure and then come back maybe in the morning and finish this off, but we're here now. Come here, won't you? Oh! I guess it's not stable when the camera tripod is extended into its fullest form, but look at this. We got a dual drawer system. Very nice. That's a little, yeah, just is a little weaker out here, and I understand that. But hopefully it'll all work out okay. Just don't put any, like, bowling balls in here. Shouldn't be a problem for me. All right, let's see. Nice big sturdy drawer. And nice big, not quite as sturdy drawer, but it will be just fine for extra clothing and whatnot. Here, it's a little wobble wobbly, to be expected. You know what? Ooh, what if we put a flip down leg on that? Let's not do that. That's what I did with my bed before. Anyway, there we go. And if you might be wondering, because I'm sure somebody out there is, we're not that far along yet. But my intention, as I talked about in a previous video, is we're going to put legs up here, like little more 2x2s up here. Very similar in style to these ones. And then I'm probably going to get 1/4 inch board, like 1/4 inch plywood, really thin stuff, to give myself sections. Right, so put a little piece there, a little piece there, then we'll have 3 sections in this one, and so on and so forth. Just the skinny stuff, because, well, I have 1/2 inch, and I got it coming out of my wazoo because of the bed platform, but I still need to build a whole bunch of cabinetry up at the front as well. So that's why I'm leaning towards 1/4 inch for back here. And maybe I'll get it when I'm in Calgary, maybe, and just have them slice and dice it there for me, but, that definitely sounds like a future Matthew problem. You go in there. You go in there. I am so bloody excited for these drawers. Oh, yes, and obviously, I got to get some sort of handle system here. I don't know. My first thought was maybe, I doubt this will be what I do because it tends to get rusty. But like this stuff here, like I have on Lucky's door handle, just get that stuff. That could make a nice handle. Same as I have up here with the Lucky bandana, right? But see, it does get rusty, but that's because I had bottles up there. So, like, and they leaked. Leaked? That's not a thing. But anyways, yeah, maybe now that I'm seeing this, might not be the worst. I mean, obviously I can just get a cheap plastic one that's like designed to be a handle at well, probably at Silverton, but at Lowe's, Rona, all that good stuff. But that piping might look kind of cool. Just got to make sure, hang on. Yeah, see, that's as far back as that goes. It might protrude too much. Yeah, maybe not. Let's see here. Close the door. It's not going to latch because the other side's not closed. But, well, helps if you move your garbage. Good gravy. Oh, never mind. There's lots of room. Maybe that's what we do. Look at that. We built a second drawer. Fan-freaking-tastic. Of course, now I was just trying to see if it would fit out of utter curiosity, and nay. So, it might look like it's fitting, because the piece of wood is, in fact, in the van, but it needs to be the other way. And I don't see any way of actually being able to make this sucker rotate. So that sucks, but, again, maybe, like, happy-ish accident, one of these edges is really rough and gross. So, I can't remember, I think it's that end up there, maybe. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to measure, just push this up out of the way. I'm going to measure, these are the things I was talking about, the little, like, weird arc things that they're above the wheel well, right? So this here, see how far it's sticking out? From this point to the one on that side is my most narrow, and from that point to that point is 68 inches. That's why this board is 68 inches wide. And it turns out that it's too wide. But what I'll do is I'll measure from here to the middle-ish of this 2x4 maybe, right? And then we will just cut this sucker at that measurement, and then he'll just get screwed in on this side and on this side, as opposed to like trying to figure out anything else, because I still need the foot of the bed over there too. I gotta figure that out. Sometimes you dream too big. All right, well, let's get this sucker out of here. Yikes. I should have made room on the table for him. Oh, don't get splinters. Those are the worst. Let's see what we got. Come in here above our new fancy drawer. Balance on your knees. Very good. Move your cables. Oh yeah, if anybody was wondering why that big power cable is running over top of this wheel well, that's the one that goes to the negative chassis point. So, Hello? 26 and a half about. We make that cut. 26 and a quarter. Write that down. 26 and a quarter. Back it up. Back it up. Oh, yikes. Oh my goodness. We just got a little bit of plywood. It's a good thing we still need to build Penny a little apartment for her shitter. All right, 26 and a quarter. Gotta clear all this off first. I got half of mine to just schlep it back to Silverton and have them cut it for me. That's a really long cut to make with a circular saw, I'll tell you what. Okay, 26 and a quarter. No matter what, no matter how straight it may seem that I get this line, I'll tell you now, the cut line, I'm gonna be flipping this board so that the cut line goes against the wall, and the nice straight ends of this, I think I just got a sliver in my beard. Great! The nice straight ends butt into the that support beam. All right, now we just got to connect those lines. Already weird and wonky. Good enough. Just right up the middle. But we're going to leave that until the next one. So until then, just go out there, be happy, be creative, be yourselves. Most importantly, be positive. And remember, only dead fish go with the flow. Catch you in the morning.